I couldn't give a fuck. I don't care about Black Sabbath. I never did. I've no...
Well, do I have to like every rock group there ever was in the world, or people who bite their heads off bats?
Probably one of the most twisted, sick individuals I've come across. He has no charisma, okay? He looks like Frankenstein.
Dad didn't like him.
No, but...
When a rock legend dies, you'd think the music community would come together to pay respects. But what happens when another rock legend decides to publicly trash the deceased icon just weeks after their death? What's up, everyone? Today we're diving into one of the most controversial and heated feuds in recent rock history. Roger Waters versus the Osbourne family. And trust me, this gets ugly. Let's break it all down. First, let's set the scene. Last summer, the world lost Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, the godfather of heavy metal, an absolute icon who spent decades entertaining millions of fans worldwide with Black Sabbath and his solo career. The tributes poured in from everywhere. Fans, fellow musicians, celebrities, everyone was honoring Ozzy's incredible legacy, messages of love for his family, Sharon, his kids, and appreciation for everything he gave to music. But then, about 6 weeks after Ozzy's death, Pink Floyd co-founder Roger Waters decided to do an interview with the Independent Inc. podcast. And what he said? It shocked a lot of people. So Waters is doing this interview, and they're talking about how pop culture distracts people from important world issues. Pretty standard Roger Waters political commentary, right? The guy's known for being outspoken about world politics. How can we push this to one side? I know how to do it. We'll do it with Taylor Swift or bubblegum, or Kim Kardashian's bum, or Ozzy Osbourne, who just died, bless him, in his whatever that state that he was in his whole life, we'll never know, although he was all over the TV for hundreds of years with his idiocy and nonsense. Yeah, he really said that, about a man who had just died, weeks earlier. But wait. It gets worse. Waters went on to say he couldn't give a fuck about Black Sabbath's music and that he has no interest in anyone who bites the heads off animals, referring to Ozzy's infamous bat incident from 1982. Now look, you're allowed to not like someone's music. You're allowed to have opinions. But to go on a podcast 6 weeks after someone dies and call their entire life's work idiocy and nonsense, that's a choice. As you can imagine, the Osbourne family was not having it, and they came out swinging. Hey, Roger Waters, f*** you. How pathetic and out of touch you've become. The only way you seem to get attention these days is by vomiting out bullshit in the press. My father always thought you were a Thanks for proving him right. Damn, Jack did not hold back. And honestly, can you blame him? The man just lost his father, and now he's got to deal with this? But Sharon Osbourne, Ozzy's wife and manager, she took it even further. During the family's first podcast episode together after Ozzy's death, Sharon absolutely unleashed on Waters. She said, "He has no charisma. He looks like Frankenstein. The guy is sick in the head. He is not relevant in today's world. Nobody likes him. Boring, no charisma, he's got no stage presence, envious, and he's just a bad seed." And they didn't stop there. The Osbournes actually designed a t-shirt for Ozzy's official merchandise store. It shows Ozzy peeing a rainbow on a wall that looks suspiciously like Pink Floyd's The Wall album cover, with the text, "Another prick in the wall." I mean, you've got to admit, that's pretty clever. Petty, absolutely, but clever. Now, you'd think the story would end there, right? Waters said something terrible, the family responded, everyone moves on. But no, because British broadcaster Piers Morgan decided to get involved. Morgan had Waters on his show Piers Morgan Uncensored to discuss various world topics: Iran, Russia, Venezuela, the usual Roger Waters stuff. But toward the end of the interview, Morgan brought up the Ozzy comments. And here's where things get really interesting. Morgan told Waters that he took the comments personally because Ozzy had been his friend for a long time. He then read Waters' exact quote back to him and asked if that was empathetic. Waters' defense? He basically said, Do I have to like every rock group there ever was in the world? Which, okay, fair question in isolation, but that's not really the point, is it? It's not that you didn't like Black Sabbath, it's when and how you expressed that opinion. Morgan then played a clip of Sharon Osbourne from a previous appearance on his show, where she said, "I just thought with anybody that passes that has a family, you don't do that." Simple, respectful, and absolutely right. So here's where it gets even more bizarre. When Morgan asked Waters if he would apologize for what he said, Waters initially said, "Yeah, of course I will." Great, problem solved, right? Wrong, because he immediately followed that up by saying he has no time for Sharon Osbourne because she's a raging Zionist and part of the Israeli lobby. Yeah, he really brought Middle Eastern politics into an apology about disrespecting a deceased rock star, because of course he did. It's Roger Waters. Waters then took back his apology, but said he'd be willing to have a conversation with Jack if he wanted. He said, "I'm sorry you lost your dad, Jack, but you have conversations about things and about people. What do you think?" "Well, not a lot. I was honest. I said I didn't like Black Sabbath. I've listened to some of it since, and the music is perfectly kind of acceptable. It was all the histrionics. I just don't like people who bite heads off bats. I just don't. I think it's disgusting." The music is perfectly kind of acceptable. What a glowing review for one of the most influential heavy metal bands of all time. When Morgan asked Waters if he felt any regret for his words or for causing the Osbourne family pain, Waters responded that he regrets nothing in life. So what do we make of all this? Here's the thing. Roger Waters has always been controversial. He's never been one to hold back his opinions, especially when it comes to politics and social issues. That's kind of his brand. But there's a difference between being outspoken and being callous. There's a difference between having strong opinions and lacking basic human decency. When someone dies, especially someone beloved by millions, there is an unwritten rule in the music community. You either say something nice or you say nothing at all. Even if you never liked their music, even if you had beef with them when they were alive, you respect the grieving process of their family and fans. Look at how other musicians responded to Ozzy's passing. Even people who had never worked with him, who played completely different genres, they found kind words to say, because that's what you do. The feud between Roger Waters and the Osbourne family really highlights something important. Fame and musical genius don't automatically grant you social grace or empathy. You can be a legendary songwriter, you can sell millions of records, and you can still miss the mark on basic human kindness. As for whether this feud will ever truly be resolved, given Waters' statement that he regrets nothing in life, I wouldn't hold your breath. What do you think? Was Waters out of line, or do the Osbournes need to lighten up? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into rock drama, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Until next time, remember, just because you can say something doesn't mean you should. Peace out.